Welcome to Echoes in Concrete Dreams, a soothing journey through the magical emotional landscapes of Resonant City. Before we begin, if you're primarily seeking sleep, you can skip directly to the story chapters. Timestamps are available in the video description. This audiobook is designed to guide you into a peaceful, restful state, following the gentle, magical journey of Zaya Lockhart, an urban empath who listens to the hidden emotional stories of city architecture. Let's start by creating a peaceful space for yourself. Find a comfortable position, perhaps nestled in your bed, supported by soft pillows, or settled into a cozy chair. Allow your body to sink into whatever surface supports you, feeling fully held and secure. Take a moment to adjust your blankets, ensuring you feel warm, safe, and completely at ease. This is your sanctuary of calm, a quiet space where the outside world gently fades away. Now, let's breathe together. Slowly inhale through your nose, drawing in a breath that feels soft and natural. Feel the air moving gently into your lungs, bringing with it a sense of tranquility. Then exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension like a tender sigh that carries away the day's concerns. Imagine each breath as a wave of soft light, washing through your body, smoothing away any remaining stress or worry. With every breath, you're becoming more relaxed, more connected to the peaceful moment. If your mind begins to wander, and minds often do, that's perfectly okay. Simply imagine your thoughts as delicate clouds drifting across a vast, calm sky. There's no need to chase them or hold on to them. Just gently return your attention to the sound of my voice, or to the rhythm of your breathing. You're safe, you're supported, and you're about to embark on a magical journey through the emotional landscapes of a city that breathes with memory and possibility. Let the story of Zaya and Resonant City carry you into a deep, restorative sleep. Chapter 1. Resonant Foundations. The city breathed around Zaya Lockhart, its architectural memories whispering through the early morning light. Stone and steel hummed with centuries of collected emotions, a symphony only she could hear. Her fingertips traced the weathered facade of the community center, each touch revealing layers of forgotten stories. Marcus stood beside her, his weathered hands folded quietly. "What do you hear?" he asked, knowing the answer would be more feeling than words. Zaya closed her eyes. The building's emotional landscape unfolded like a delicate watercolor, threads of hope woven through generations of community gatherings. Quiet moments of sacred connection, soft echoes of children's laughter, and the deep, resilient pulse of collective memory. "It remembers," she murmured, "every celebration, every struggle." The morning light filtered through stained glass windows, casting soft prisms of blue and amber across the wooden floors. Dust motes danced in those light streams, carrying whispers of past conversations, of dreams half-spoken and promises partially kept. Zaya's gift was not about hearing words, but about feeling the emotional resonance that lived within architectural spaces. Her ability was a gentle magic, more sensation than spectacle. Where others saw brick and mortar, she perceived emotional landscapes, complex topographies of human experience etched into every surface. The community center was not just a building, but a living chronicle of neighborhood stories. "Some spaces heal," Marcus said softly, "and some spaces need healing." The center's wooden floorboards creaked with a sound that was almost a sigh. Generations of footsteps had worn smooth paths, each step leaving behind a microscopic emotional imprint. Zaya could trace those paths like a cartographer of feeling, understanding the subtle narratives embedded in each grain and groove. Her work was not about dramatic transformations, but quiet restoration. Like a careful conservator, she would listen, understand, and gently realign the emotional energies that had accumulated over decades. The building would emerge not dramatically changed, but subtly renewed, its core essence respected, its wounds tenderly acknowledged. Outside, the city moved with its usual rhythm. Traffic hummed in distant streets, a low and constant background melody. Pigeons settled on the window ledge, their soft cooing adding another layer to the building's emotional soundscape. Everything was interconnected: the city, its structures, its memories, its people. Marcus watched Zaya with a knowing smile. She was learning to listen not just with her ears, but with her entire being. Her gift was a delicate instrument, capable of perceiving emotional frequencies most would never recognize. The morning light continued its gentle dance, transforming dust and memory into something luminous and alive. And Zaya stood at the center, a conduit between the physical world and its hidden emotional currents, ready to listen, to understand, to heal. Chapter 2. The Forgotten Corridor. The Forgotten Corridor of Resonant City's municipal archives stretched before Zaya like a living memory, its walls layered with emotional sediment accumulated over decades. Soft afternoon light filtered through dust-laden windows, transforming ordinary architectural spaces into landscapes of profound emotional resonance. Marcus walked beside her, his footsteps creating a gentle rhythm that seemed to coax the building's hidden narratives into awakening. Each corridor has its own heartbeat, Marcus whispered, his fingers trailing along the weathered wallpaper. Some are loud, some are barely a murmur. The walls responded to his touch, releasing microscopic emotional echoes, fragments of bureaucratic dreams, forgotten administrative hopes, the quiet determination of generations of city workers who had walked these precise paths. Zaya closed her eyes, allowing the building's emotional topography to unfold around her. The corridor was not merely a physical space, but a living archive of collective urban experience. Whispers of past conversations lingered like delicate spider webs, a letter filed in 1953, carrying the hope of a young clerk's career aspirations, a retirement farewell from 1976, filled with bittersweet melancholy, the subtle vibrations of countless human interactions compressed into architectural memory. Her gift transformed the mundane into the magical. Where others saw peeling paint and outdated filing cabinets, Zaya perceived intricate emotional landscapes, complex narratives woven into every crack and crevice. The corridor breathed with a rhythm almost imperceptible, yet profoundly alive. Emotional residues drifted like soft clouds, each carrying its own unique frequency of human experience. Marcus watched her with a mixture of pride and understanding. "You're learning to listen," he said softly, "not just with your ears, but with your entire being." His words were a gentle invitation, encouraging Zaya to dive deeper into the emotional ecosystems embedded within urban infrastructure. The building seemed to respond to their presence, its wooden floors creaking with a sound that was almost a sigh, releasing decades of accumulated emotional memory. As evening light began to soften the corridor's edges, Zaya understood her role was not about dramatic transformation, but subtle restoration. Like a careful conservator of emotional landscapes, she would listen, understand, and gently realign the energies that had accumulated over generations. The corridor would emerge not dramatically changed, but subtly renewed, its core essence respected, its emotional wounds tenderly acknowledged. The city outside continued its constant rhythmic pulse. Traffic hummed in distant streets, pigeons settled on windowsills, and the municipal archives breathed with the collective memories of countless human stories. And at the center of this intricate emotional landscape stood Zaya, a young urban empath learning to translate the silent language of architectural memory, one forgotten corridor at a time. Chapter 3. Resonant Foundations. The urban restoration project unfolded like a delicate symphony, with Zaya at its emotional epicenter. Sunlight cascaded through the historic neighborhood's aging windows, casting soft amber halos that transformed ordinary architectural spaces into living canvases of memory and possibility. Marcus watched her work, his keen eyes tracking the subtle transformations that emerged beneath her gentle touch. Each building carried its own emotional signature, a complex harmonic that resonated through brick and mortar. Zaya moved between structures with an intuitive grace, her hands hovering just above weathered surfaces, reading the intricate emotional landscapes embedded within decades of urban memory. The neighborhood itself seemed to breathe with her, architectural lines softening, emotional tensions gradually dissolving like morning mist. Connection is never linear, Marcus murmured, more to himself than to Zaya. The young empath understood immediately emotional healing was a landscape of subtle shifts, of gentle realignments rather than dramatic reconstructions. She could feel the neighborhood's collective unconscious responding to her presence, decades of accumulated urban stories weaving themselves into new, more harmonious patterns. The building spoke in a language beyond words, through subtle architectural shifts, through the way sunlight refracted through dust-laden windows, through the nearly imperceptible movements of aging foundations. Zaya had learned to listen with more than her ears, to perceive the emotional frequencies that lived between physical structures and human memories. Each restored wall, each realigned architectural line became a conduit for collective healing. Neighborhood residents moved around her with a curious sense of unexpected comfort. They couldn't articulate the change, but something felt different, lighter, more connected. Children played with a newfound gentleness. Elderly residents sat on restored porches with unexpected serenity, and the very air seemed to vibrate with a more harmonious energy. Marcus recognized this as the truest manifestation of Zaya's gift transformation, so subtle it appeared almost unremarkable. As evening approached, the neighborhood settled into a profound quietude. Street lights flickered to life, casting soft golden networks across restored facades. Zaya stood at the project's epicenter, her role both magical conductor and gentle guardian of urban emotional landscapes. The city breathed around her, its architectural memories realigning, finding new pathways of connection and understanding. The restoration was never about changing structures, but about listening, truly listening to the stories held within walls, within streets, within the collective memory of urban spaces. And as night fell, Resonant City revealed its most profound magic, the ability to heal, to transform, to connect, one emotional resonance at a time. Chapter 4. The Silent Bridge. The bridge spanning Resonant City's central waterway carried memories older than the city itself. Its stone arches weighted with generations of unspoken emotional journeys. Zaya approached the structure with a reverence that felt almost ceremonial, her fingertips barely skimming the weathered stonework. Marcus stood several paces behind, watching her navigate the complex emotional topography embedded within the architectural landscape. Fragments of historical trauma lived between the bridge's massive stone blocks. Whispers of separation, of migrations forced and voluntary, of connections broken and restored. Each layer of stone held a narrative, a delicate emotional ecosystem that trembled beneath Zaya's sensitive touch. The water flowing underneath seemed to synchronize with her breathing, creating a rhythm that was part natural phenomenon, part magical resonance. Her work was never about erasure, but about understanding. The bridge's emotional memories were not wounds to be removed, but stories to be honored, to be gently transformed. Zaya closed her eyes, allowing the architectural memories to flow through her like water finding its natural path. Historical pain began to soften, its sharp edges smoothing into something more fluid, more compassionate. The city around her continued its constant subtle pulse. Distant traffic created a low harmonic. Pigeons settled on the bridge's ornate railings, and the water below carried its own ancient music. Zaya became a conduit, her empathic abilities creating subtle shifts in the bridge's emotional landscape, not dramatic healing, but a gentle realignment of accumulated memories. Marcus observed her work with a profound understanding. Each architectural space held its own consciousness, its own capacity for transformation. Zaya was learning to be a translator, to move between the visible and invisible landscapes of urban emotional experience. Her gift was not about grand gestures, but about the most intimate form of listening, hearing what remained unspoken, feeling what had been forgotten. As afternoon light began to soften, casting long shadows across the bridge, Zaya sensed a profound shift. The bridge's emotional memory was not being erased, but gently recontextualized. Generations of human experience migrations, separations, reunions began to flow more smoothly, like water finding a new, more harmonious channel. The stone seemed to breathe with a newfound lightness, its historical weight gradually transforming. Residents passing over the bridge felt an inexplicable sense of peace. Children moved with unexpected gentleness. Elderly couples walked with a renewed sense of connection. The bridge was no longer just a physical structure, but a living testament to the city's emotional resilience. And at its center stood Zaya, her hands barely touching the stone, her entire being a bridge between what was and what could be. Tree. The evening descended with a soft luminescence, transforming the bridge into a landscape of possibility. Streetlights flickered to life, casting golden networks across stone and water. Zaya understood more profoundly than ever that healing was never about elimination, but about creating space for compassionate understanding. The bridge continued its silent work, carrying memories, connecting shores, revealing the most delicate magic of urban emotional landscapes. As night fully embraced the city, the bridge stood as a testament to the profound work of emotional restoration, a living archive of human experience, now breathing with a newfound grace. Its stories gently realigned by the young empath who had learned to listen with her entire being. Chapter 5. Harmonic Convergence. The first light of dawn painted Resonant City in watercolor hues of soft lavender and pale gold, transforming the urban landscape into a living canvas of emotional possibility. Zaya stood at the epicenter of her most profound work, yet a city-wide emotional restoration that felt less like a project and more like a delicate orchestration of collective memory. Marcus watched from a distance, his presence a quiet anchor to her transformative journey. Something fundamental had shifted in the city's emotional ecosystem. Buildings seemed to breathe with a more harmonious rhythm, their architectural memories no longer fragmented, but interconnected like an intricate neural network. Zaya understood now that her gift was never about individual healing, but about revealing the profound connections that existed beneath the surface of urban experience. Each structure, each street corner carried stories that whispered of resilience, of quiet transformation, of the extraordinary magic hidden within ordinary moments. Her hands moved almost imperceptibly, tracing invisible lines of emotional connection that wove through the city's infrastructure. The municipal archives, the community center, the historic bridge, each space she had touched now resonated with a subtle, profound energy. It was as if she had been conducting an invisible symphony, where buildings were instruments and human memories were the music. Marcus approached, his footsteps creating a gentle rhythm against the morning soft pavement. "You're learning," he said, the words falling like a soft benediction, "that healing is never about changing, but about understanding." Zaya felt the truth of his words vibrate through her entire being. Her work was not about dramatic reconstruction, but about creating space for collective emotional breathing. The city around them seemed to listen, to respond. Pigeons settled on restored window ledges, their soft cooing a counterpoint to the distant hum of morning traffic. Sunlight filtered through architectural spaces, transforming dust and memory into something luminous and alive. Zaya realized that her gift was a form of translation, speaking the language of collective memory, helping urban spaces remember their most essential stories. Residents moving through the streets felt an inexplicable sense of lightness. Children played with a newfound gentleness. Elderly couples walked with unexpected connection. The emotional landscape of Resonant City had been subtly realigned, its collective unconscious breathing with a more harmonious rhythm. And at the center of this transformation stood Zaya, her entire being a bridge between what was and what could be. The morning continued its gentle unfolding, each moment revealing another layer of the city's intricate emotional tapestry. Zaya understood that her work was never about grand gestures, but about the most intimate form of listening, hearing what remained unspoken, feeling what had been forgotten. The city was not just a collection of buildings, but a living, breathing entity with its own complex emotional geography. As mid-morning light spread its golden networks across streets and structures, Zaya felt a profound sense of completion. This was not an ending, but a beginning. A moment of harmonic convergence where individual and collective memories could find their most authentic expression. Resonant City breathed around her, its architectural memories now flowing with a newfound grace, revealing the most delicate magic of urban emotional landscapes. The day continued its soft progression, the city pulsing with a quiet, transformed energy, and Zaya stood at its center, a guardian of emotional restoration, her gift a testament to the profound connections that exist beneath the surface of human experience, waiting, always waiting, to be heard.